a story of one of our May one deal a week challenge participants. Her name is Karita. How she has used just one of the free resources that I'll make available to you tomorrow. Just one of those free resources. She has now turned into, I think, 5 potential transactions in just a couple of weeks for free. For free. I'll explain exactly how. And in fact, she is she's doing that work so she can get the money to invest into our accelerator program for August. And I'm going to introduce what that is. And for those who are interested in the July accelerator program, we're going to unpack that tomorrow. Yes, I have a special offer for you that I'll share tomorrow. Absolutely. So we already got some great interaction going on in the chat, but let me take care of a couple of housekeeping items. So number one, if you're like Crystal and you didn't know about this until last night, and this is your first day, or you missed yesterday for whatever reason, or you just want to go back and check it out again, you have to come join the free school community. It is free, Free. Come join the community. It's free. The link is in the chat. Once you join the community, go to the classroom section and the one deal a week challenge. And you will see, start here. So Crystal, after this session, you can start here, watch that video. You can get the book that I offered yesterday as well, the one deal a week. This is the preview copy. It's not the final version yet. We're close to that, and we'll make it available on Amazon, etc. But you can get a free preview copy, and you can go through some additional resources there as well. And then yesterday's replay, the day one challenge replay, is right here. You can watch the video, the session summary, which is pretty cool. There it is. It kind of summarizes everything, a breakdown, etc. And then the action items. Now, Vern asked, did we figure out the instant offers? Here's the deal. There's nothing I can do about it. They changed the sign-up process, okay? So, unfortunately, there's nothing I can do. If you want to get the free instant offer platform, you have to put in your credit card number, but it is just for verification. The reason they did that is they used to use an invite code, but there was bots and spam and stuff that was creating a hosting problem and a bandwidth problem, etc. So you will not be charged if you're just using the instant offer platform. But you do have to put that, there's nothing I can do. It's not my platform, so it's not my rules. However, if you're just not comfortable, you just don't want to do that, okay, for whatever reason, I've got another option for you, which is QuickBuy, who is one of the institutional iBuyers that is in the platform. You can submit directly with them for preliminary offer options. And I'll explain how this all fits together in the one deal a week blueprint and the whole ecosystem that we work with and the reverse offer strategy. I'll explain how this all plays together, but you have multiple ways that you can do that. And I want to reiterate, look, read it right here. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do. You will only be charged if you upgrade to the premium version of this. But for free, you will have the instant offer platforms, which you can pull preliminary offer options for any properties. And I'll demo that probably later in the session today, what those look like when you have the free version of it. Okay? So again, nothing I can do about it, but I also have a plan B for you here. And in fact, there may be a way for me to get one or two other options, the institutional offer options, for free for you as well. Okay, that was housekeeping item number 1. I'm just making sure here. Let me see. I'm going to stop my screen share. Yeah, so tomorrow at noon, you got the replay. This afternoon, today's replay and the resources, the summary, the action items outlined for you, that will get added as well. And I've got some bonus training and resources that I'll share later today, and then even more for you tomorrow. Okay, so let's see here. My next question was going to be how did we do in finding bait? And Misty said, I found 2 or 3 properties, identified 3 buckets of sellers. I need to work on identifying my buyers. So that's good. Okay, making progress. I found 4 bait properties. Jackie says, how else? Who else in here? How did we do with finding 3 to 5 potential properties that we can use as bait? And while you're answering, I want to reiterate the the reason why I'm having you do these exercises, the purpose behind doing that was I wanted to open your eyes to the fact that there is opportunity all around you. There is abundance. There are deals happening. There are opportunities to be had in every market, in every situation or scenario. It's just that sometimes we get so single-minded of focus that we lose the forest through the trees. I don't know if that's the right cliche, but you get the point. So even if we don't do anything with these properties that we've identified, the simple exercise, the going through the work of actually taking the action alone will open your eyes. It'll get your reticular activating system going. Bill says, Celeste sounds, I found even more. Bill says 5. Alan, 5 properties in Orlando, Winter Park area. Janelle, 4 bait properties and 1 5-unit. Let's go. I love it. I have 4 sweet and juicy bait chunks, Ken says. That's great. I love it. Kelly, I created a cash buyer list and found about 5 bait properties. Love it. Vern, 13 properties. Holy smoke, that's almost too much. And Bill, abundance mindset versus scarcity. Doing this last night, 100%, right? That was the reason behind the homework that I assigned is I wanted you to change your mindset and understand and fully embrace the fact that there is opportunity in your market. No matter how hard it feels right now, there is still opportunity. There is still opportunity. Bill is one of our June Accelerator Program participants, and he's been doing the work. He says texting and emailing all my HomeBot leads and creating responses within minutes. Robert says I found 7 bait properties. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, some of you already mentioned this, but I'm curious. One of the other bits of homework was identifying seller buckets. And I want to see, I'm curious to see what the most unique potential seller bucket might be. So when you made your list of like Z-Buyer leads, Smart Zip leads, home value leads, I don't know, cash buyer request leads, sold.com, sellers direct, what were some of those seller buckets that you may have access to? And to be clear, if you're a brand new agent or you don't have any of those, you actually have 2 of those, for sale by owners and expireds. Celeste, right there, my seller buckets, for sale by owners and expireds. And one that I forgot to even say live, but is in with the replay, for rent by owners. For rent by owners can be great seller buckets as well. And I'm going to share tomorrow, we're going to unpack how we use the reverse offer strategy to get them to say yes. And in fact, Monday, because I do this stuff, I follow this blueprint, I use the reverse offer strategy. Monday, I was using this strategy with 30 for sale by owners. It has turned into 3 or 4 potential contracts already for me. None are signed, but it's Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. and I started Monday morning at 10 a.m. So in 48 hours, I have 3 or 4 potential contracts from using the reverse offer strategy with for sale by owners. And also, I mentioned, I'm going to tell the Carita story. That is how Carita has put 5 or 6 contracts in her pipeline following the May 1 deal a week challenge and the free resources. And she's using that to build up a little bit of a war chest so she can sign up and join our August Accelerator group as well. Jackie, attorney and accountant getting referrals for estates. Love it. Ken, forced to sell, divorce, distress, inherited, pre-foreclosure. Love that. FSBO expired, et cetera, et cetera. Great. So once again, tomorrow is sellers and offers. We're going to unpack with these seller buckets, how do we get them to raise their hand and create the opportunities for contracts and closings? We'll get into that tomorrow. All right. Now, and then some of you, the last one, I guess, was, and this seems like maybe for some of you was the hardest one, but the active buyer buckets. And some of you had some success with that. Some of you are struggling with that. Here's the good news. We're early today, so you have more time today to knock out any of the homework that you didn't knock out from yesterday's session. You can knock that out today. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to take you through an exercise, and I want you to all play full out with this. Okay? I want you to, I want you to realize right now that if you feel resistance in participating in this, that same resistance is what's holding you back or keeping you stuck. So play full out right now. And I want you to either have a pen and paper handy or open the Notes app on your phone the Notes app on your phone and do this exercise with me. Do this exercise with me. Play full out. It's a multi-step exercise, and we are going to do a little bit of math, right? But it's easy math, and I'm going to walk you through it. Okay, I promise. So don't panic, right? We're not going back to take the real estate exam, right? It's just some simple math. Simple math. I promise. Number one, first step in the exercise. And if you have to guess, it's totally fine. Just make your best guess. What is your average gross commission income per transaction? You, not like your market average or anything like that. For you, what is your average gross commission income per transaction? And put that in the chat. Put that in the chat, and better yet, write it down or put it in your notes. Okay? Bill, 10,000. Terrell, 18,000. Janelle, 18,000. 5,000, 7,000, 11,500. Very specific, Jackie. That tells me you know your numbers. I love it. Karen, 8,000. Joe, 6 to 9. For this, Joe, I need you to pick one. You got to, if you need to go in between, say 7,500. Kelly, 12, 5, 10. Tom, 12. Deb, 10. After split. No, I'm not saying after splits, Celeste. Not after splits. I want your gross commission income. Okay, gross commission income. Doreen, 21,000. Holy smokes. Let's go. Laurie, 16,500. Julie, 10. Christy, 12. Misty, 10,500. Gross, 15,000. Oh, that was Celeste. Okay, perfect. Vern, 3,700. We need to get that up, Vern. We can get that up a little bit higher for you. Luis, 9,500. Crystal, 25,000. Oh, you're in San Diego. That checks out. Bernadette, 21,000. 12,000. David, Alan, 12,000. Okay, perfect. Thank you for playing full out. Everybody, thank you for playing full out. Seriously. Step 2. And if you need a calculator for this, some of you are good enough with math that you don't need a calculator, but I'm not. So if you need a calculator for this, I want you to open up your calculator, and I want you to take that number, whatever number you just dropped in the chat and wrote in your notes. And just for illustration purposes, I'm going to use 7,500 because the average price in my market is not as high as many of you, first and foremost, and I like to be conservative. So I'm going to take 7,500, and what I want you to do, whatever your number is, I want you to multiply it by 50. Okay? I want you to multiply it by 50. And you don't have to drop that in the chat. You don't have to drop that in the chat, but we need to know that number. Okay? We need to know that number. Yeah, Bill, yours is easy. 10 times 5, 10,000 by 50 is 500K. I guess I could have done 10,000. It would have been easier for me. Okay? So we need to know that number. So again, the average GCI and then times 50. And the reason why I'm saying 50, one deal a week technically is 52. But let's face it, you got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas. We can take a couple of months off or a couple of weeks off, right? So 50, Giselle, 10,600 times 50. I don't know what that would be, but it would be 500,000 and change. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, here's the part of this. Does everybody have that? Put a 1 in the chat if everybody has their number. Drop a 1 in the chat if everybody has their GCI times 50. You have that number. Thank you. Again, thank you all for playing full out, because I'm telling you, as silly as it sounds, like how you do anything is how you do everything. And I do actually think there's some exceptions to that, but when it comes to business, I do think it holds true. How you do anything is how you do everything. So thank you for playing full out. Here's the part where I'm going to ask you to get a little bit vulnerable. And you don't have to put this in the chat, but if you want to, you can. And you might have to guess. Some of you may know it exactly, or you may have a tool where you can pull it up exactly. The last 12 months for you, what was your gross commission income? Not after splits or anything like that. Your gross commission income. And just write that down. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take this number and we're going to subtract, and I'm just going to, I'll say that, let's say mine was 200,000, my gross commission income. What I'm identifying is I'm identifying the gap from where I'm at to where I want to be. And I'm saying that, or encouraging you to be vulnerable with this, because there's no judgment here. And there's no shame. None of it. We have to be honest and truthful about where we're at and where we're trying to go, and understand that that gap, the way you fill that gap is by doing the work, following this blueprint, using the reverse offer strategy so that we can have more conversations, to write more contracts, to close more transactions. Okay, Giselle, once again, here's the process. Average GCI per transaction, which for you was 10,600. You multiply that by 50, and you subtract what your personal GCI before splits. Okay, so before your broker takes whatever they're taking, before the splits, you subtract that number. And what we're trying to find is the gap between where we are or have been the last 12 months and where we want to go. Which, let's be honest here, the challenge is called the 1 deal a week challenge. But I totally understand that many of you would be fine with 2 or 3 deals a month versus 1 a week. I just want you to fully embrace and understand what we're trying to do here. We want to identify the gap so we can fully understand the reality of our current situation, because in doing that and embracing that, that is the first step to making the changes necessary and taking the actions necessary to close that gap and make this number the reality. Whatever that number was, for Bill it was 500,000. For some of you it was I don't know, 25 times 50, what's that, 750,000, right? This is the first step. Now some of you are putting numbers in here. I don't know if that's your gap number, and if it is, some of you are killing it, but maybe that's your average GCI that you're starting with. You don't need to share that number. I just want you to know where you're at, where you're going, what that gap is, and just know that if you do the work and you commit to the process and you embrace this blueprint and this strategy, and for those of you that want help building out the entire ecosystem, we have an offer for you tomorrow, which you can choose to participate or not. But at a minimum, you can use what we're sharing throughout here and some of the free resources that I'm going to give you tomorrow to start closing that gap. I appreciate, truly, I appreciate you all playing full out with that. Okay? And there's no shame in it. It's just extend the gap. I love it, Eric. Thank you. Dang, the gap is, thank you for being vulnerable, Giselle. That's a big gap. But we can fill that gap, right? We can fill that gap. Okay. Again, thank you for playing full out with that. That tells me that we have, people on here that really want to make a change and are willing to do the work. Okay. Now, we're going to pivot to bait and buyers, because that's what day 2 is about. And I already hit this, but I want to reiterate it. The reason why we went through the exercise yesterday is because I wanted you to turn on your reticular activating system to opportunity and abundance, number 1. And number 2, when we have bait, or another way of thinking about it is a reason to do outreach, this thing gets a lot lighter. It's a lot easier to call and text and email when you have a real reason for making the outreach. A real reason. Now, I know from doing enough of these trainings and from personal experience of helping some of our Founders Club members and our folks participating in our June Accelerator program, that one of the things that can come up when people are doing this work is they can start to make their own judgments about the bait. In other words, they decide whether or not this is good bait on behalf of the client. That is not our job in this business. Our job is to identify potential opportunity and present that potential opportunity with factual data and let the person that we're making the offer to decide whether or not this makes sense. Now, let me make this very specific, and I'll share a story, which if not today, tomorrow morning, I will share the 21-minute video walkthrough, and Stephanie will tell the story in her own words. But Stephanie Nold, she's a great agent in the Houston area. She's one of our early adopters of Lead Deck and the one deal a week blueprint and this reverse offer strategy. And I was working with her back in January or February to implement this blueprint. The bait that she found was an expired listing that was a quadplex. Now, tomorrow, when we get into sellers and offers, I'll tell you and share with you more specifically how we got this expired listing to raise their hand. But for now, just know that that was the bait that she had identified, which is great. The problem is she made her own judgments about whether or not that was good bait. And it kept her from doing the next step in the process, which is today's homework. We're going to give you buyers that you can practice with, because that's all how I look at any of this, is we're just practicing, right? Because I play an infinite game. I plan to be playing this game for as long as I'm alive. So there's no winners and losers. I'm just playing the game, and the longer I play the game, the better I get at it, and the more fun I have. Back to Stephanie. We found this quadplex, expired off market. She was making her own judgments about if it's a good deal, if it's a good area, etc. Because step 2 in the process is we take this bait and we use it as a reason to have conversations. Because once again, and you all agreed with me, drop a 3 in the chat if you agree today still that if we want to write more contracts, to close more transactions, we need to have more conversations with people that want and need our help, right? So the bait gives us reasons to have conversations. But Stephanie waited an entire week to start step 2 of the process, which is using the bait to have conversations with buyers, because she was passing her own judgments on it. So finally, I called her out on it. She had found this bait on a Tuesday. A week later, the next Tuesday, she still hadn't done anything with it. And I said, Stephanie, you want me to hold you accountable to doing the work. So here's what we're going to do. We found, using Lead Deck, the 17 multifamily buyers in that zip code. There were 17 multifamily buyers. In a couple of minutes here, I'm going to give you cash buyers that we're going to use as a way to practice, this blueprint and this strategy. But we identified 17 multifamily buyers. And I said, Stephanie, I don't want you to think about it. I don't want you to let your monkey mind get in the way of this. You're just going to reach out to all 17 of these multifamily buyers and let them know that you have off-market bait that according to tax record data, they might be interested. These multifamily buyers, they all own at least 5 properties, and they had bought a multifamily property in that zip code in the last 3 years. It's pretty good. Well, Stephanie, on that day, she wasn't feeling great. She got a slow start, a late start. She was procrastinating. And then finally, at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, she called 4 out of the 17. 4 of them. 4. She talked to 3 of them and uncovered, it was somewhere between 5 and 7 potential listing opportunities, because she had a reason to have a conversation. And then she finally got over her procrastination and just did the work. just made the outreach. She just did it. I will share, if not this afternoon, tomorrow morning, the full video, and she'll tell her the story in detail, way better than I can tell it. 2 points to that. Number one, don't judge the bait. Don't judge. If there is opportunity, let the person that you're reaching out to about the bait, they can make their own assessments. I'll give you a very specific real-world example this week. I was prospecting for sale by owners. It was live on the YouTube channel Monday morning. I think it's posted in the school community as well. And one of the for sale by owners that had said yes effectively, I used our fast track blueprint, or playbook rather, and one of them effectively said yes, that the property, that he was still accepting offers and that he was open to a finder's fee. And as I did a little due diligence on the property, I realized it would be potentially a great deal for Russ. Russ is, I would consider Russ part of my herd. Okay, using the analogy from yesterday, the shepherd, the farmer, and the fisherman, Russ is part of my herd. Okay, but I went and found the bait, and it just so happens that the pond I was throwing it in was my own pond, right? Effectively, it was like a fish tank that I already knew the buyer. So I sent it to Russ without any judgment. All I said was, Russ, I took a closer look at this, and I think this might fit what you're looking for. If you're interested, let me know and we can check it out. We now, last night, after I went to Sammy's summer basketball game and then we went and hit BP because she's a softball player, I came back, I wrote up Russ's offer to the for sale by owner, and we should have it signed off by him today. I didn't pass any judgment on whether or not it was the right bait for Russ. I thought it might be, but I wasn't making any decisions for him. I'm just presenting him. I'm just throwing the line in the water. Here's what we'll do now. I'm going to give you the opportunity to go and get 5 free cash buyer leads. Now, some of you on here have already done this. And if you're already a lead deck, if you have a lead deck license already, if you're in our Founders Club or you're participating in the Accelerator program, don't go and get these because you already have them, okay? So this is for, if you don't have them, we're giving you 5 free cash buyer leads. I'm going to walk you through how to get them and the scripting that you can use for them. Before I do that, let me tell you about Maverick. I think I mentioned this yesterday, but it bears repeating. Maverick is an agent in the DC area. He participated in the May 1 Deal a Week Challenge. And on day 2, like today, he went and got his 5 free cash buyer leads. He didn't wait to take action. Literally, as soon as the session was over, he started to call and text and email them. The first 3 of the leads, he was not able to get a hold of. Lead number 4 was Fish On. And that lead was actually interested in the bait that Maverick was reaching out about. And Maverick showed him the property that Friday. Day 2 last time was on a Wednesday, or no, it was on a Tuesday. He showed that property on a Friday. New client. Now, I don't know if he's in escrow with this client yet, but that's all we can do, right? Get those, stack up. The more of those that we have, the more of those conversations and potential clients that we have, the more likely they are to pop each and every week. That was the 4th call. The fifth call was not interested in the bait that Maverick was presenting. And when we reach out to buyers, we recommend you go for 3 no's. Go for 3 no's. If you're taking notes, this is something you absolutely need to write down. First of all, we're offering up the bait that we have. And by the way, I'm going to give you the scripting for this. Like, I still think it's valuable to take notes, but I'm going to give you the script for this and the scripting process for this. how you can go for 3 no's. We're giving it to you, okay? Number 1, are you interested in the bait that I'm reaching out about? They say no. Now, call number 4 said yes. So great. When do you want to go see it? And in fact, Ken, I mentioned this yesterday, and Ken's in here as well today. Ken, we did one of these. We did a 1 deal a week workshop, a 1-day workshop back in April, I think. And 87 minutes in, the second cash buyer that Ken called was interested in the bait. He literally threw off his headphones and said, "It worked. I got to go show a house. I got to go show a property." Jonna, I see your limiting belief, and I will address it. Okay. That was, I lost my train of thought. Oh, I'm sorry. The 3 no's. I got distracted by the comment. So, are you interested in this bait? Yes or no? They say no. Is it that you're not buying at all right now? Or you're just not interested in this type of property? And in many cases, especially with these cash buyers, they'll say, well, I'm not really looking for those kind of properties anymore. This is more what I'm looking for. I'm looking for mobile home parks. I'm looking for land development deals. I'm looking for multifamily. In fact, this is great. Because I forgot to mention this at the beginning. We're leaving the VIP upgrade available until the end of the day today for a couple of different reasons. Number 1, for folks like Crystal who hopped in late. Number 2, we were having some issues with the checkout at some point, either Monday or Tuesday. And number 3, I wanted to weave in this, and give people an opportunity to check this out, because one of the bonuses to upgrade to VIP, I'm going to drop the link to VIP. One of the bonuses is what we call the wiretap calls. And these are recordings of me having conversations with 3 different buckets of 3 different buckets of either buyers, like cash buyers, active landlord buyers, multifamily buyers, listing agents, and sellers. Okay, so like motivated sellers, for sale by owner, expired, etc. And we're calling that the where are they here? The wiretaps. Now, why isn't it in here? Hold on, let me get it in here. Here we go. There it is. The 1 deal a week wiretaps. And there are some really good ones in here, where you can hear me have the conversation. So we have motivated seller calls, we have the listing agent calls, and active buyer calls. Okay, and if you can still upgrade, you'll get access to these wiretap calls. Okay. Back in October or November, I was calling cash buyers using the exact scripting, the exact type of buyers that I'm going to give you here in a minute. And I remember talking with a guy named Frank. I was calling about a property that could make a good flip. And he said, yeah, I'm kind of always looking for this kind of stuff. But I'm also more looking for an apartment complex, like 20 to 30 to 40 units. Right? I mean, that's great. Now, what if they say no to both? What if they say no to both? Just that they're not buying? Well, we make sure that we ask the magic question, which is, do you have any properties in your current portfolio that you wish you didn't have? That's Sean's version, my co-founder at Lead Deck. What I typically say is something like this. Do you have any properties in your current portfolio that you would consider an offer on right now? Maverick, with lead number 5, not interested in the bait that he was calling about, not buying at all. Do you have any properties in your current portfolio? Yes, I do. And that turned into a listing appointment the next week. And I need to check in with Maverick. He may have listed that by now. In fact, I would be shocked if he hadn't, based upon what he had shared. Okay, so enough story time. Let me give you the buyer leads, and then I need to actually go back and close the loop on something else before you start doing the outreach to the buyer leads. Okay, so in fact, let me just do one more thing before I give you, because once I give you this link and I walk you through the process, I know what's going to happen. You're all going to go and grab them. One last thing about the bait properties. best practice is to have insider information about the property that a buyer or the general consumer would not be able to see on Zillow or Realtor.com or Homes.com, etc. And we have an entire scripting process that we have for listing agents that we're, for those in our accelerator program, Founders Club, etc. We have that detailed for you. But all you need to do is think about this. You want to ask questions and let the listing agent give you the insider intel. And not all will, but most of them do. And also, let me give you another magic script that you want to use when you're having conversations with the listing agents. Do you have any other listings or off-market properties that could be a good deal for an investor? And in my experience, 1 out of 3 of my calls with listing agents, they've got something. They've got something. Okay. Now, with that said, here's where you can go and get your 5 free cash buyers. I'm going to put the link in the chat. It's leaddeck.ai/buyers. And I'm going to use Brianna here. So Brianna is one of our Founders Club members. She actually went through what we called a deal sprint. Conrad just texted me, Crystal. Small world. She mentioned yesterday on the VIP session that she has picked up 15 million in listings in the last 2 months using the 1 deal a week blueprint and the reverse offer strategy. 15 million in listing volume. And she has an RV park that she's trying to get sold. So I'm going to use the zip code she gave me. So you have to enter a zip code. Okay, so pick a specific zip code and then check your market. So there are 10 in this zip code. Active cash buyer leads. What does that mean? That means that they have a portfolio of at least 5 properties and they've purchased at least 1 in this zip code in the last 3 years cash. Now, it might not have been that they actually brought cash. But what it means more specifically is there's not a recorded mortgage. In other words, there wasn't a mortgage recorded at settlement. Okay? So they own at least 5, and they at least bought 1 of them in the last 3 years in this zip code. Now, what happens if you put in a zip code and it says 3? Just check a different zip code. Hit this. Try a different area. Put in a different zip code. Or just take the 3. But we can't give you 5 if there's only 3 in the zip code, is the point. Then you're going to put your name. Okay. And I'm just going to make a made up plus Brianna test, whatever. And then send me my 5 cash buyer leads. Now, these will be emailed to you and you get immediate access to them. And when you pull it up on your phone, when you pull up the leads in your inbox on your phone, let me see here. As soon as they show up, oh boy, you all are 1 step ahead. So look at this. So I've got them on my phone. Okay. All I need to do is open my smart deck, hit the green button, and I can tap to call them, I can tap to text them, I can tap to email them. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I can tap to email. Look at that, pre-populated. Now you might have to tweak this, etc., but it's only 5 of them. And what I'm going to recommend to you is, especially with this audience, just tap to call. Get over the fear. And remember this. This is something to write down. I say this a lot, but we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. You can't say the right thing to the wrong person or the wrong thing to the right person. And what you'll notice For those of you that upgrade to VIP, which I saw that a couple of you literally just did, what you notice when you get VIP, if you listen to the wiretap calls, I stumble and bumble and mess up all the time. But it doesn't matter, because if you're talking to the right person, you don't have to be perfectly scripted. Now you need to sound competent and confident, etc. But you don't need to have some perfect script. Misty, how long do we have access to the VIP? Forever. You get lifetime access to the bonuses and the recordings, etc. And if you had, some of you are mentioning that you had VIP last time. We sent you the links to the VIP stuff from last time. If you don't know where they are or you didn't get them for some reason, just email me. Okay. Now you can tap to call, tap to text, tap to email. What do you say? Well, right in here, we have the scripting. Now let me make this more specific. Hey, Michael, this is Josh with eXp Realty. Looks like you're a pretty active investor here in I think this is Alford, Texas, or Alford, Texas is the zip code that I popped in here. It was Brianna's. And the bait that I'd be reaching out about in this example is Brianna's mobile home park. We have a mobile home park available that has some significant value add opportunity. Or is that something that you might be interested? And if not, who do you know that might be interested? That's it. Is that something you might be interested in? And if not, who do you know that might be interested? Because birds of a feather flock together. Birds of a feather flock together. So your challenge, because this is a challenge, right? Your challenge for today is you go and get those 5 free cash buyer leads. And you just do the outreach to all 5. And you just think about it and view it as practice. It's just practice. It's just practice. And will some of you on here get somebody to give you a hard time? I'm certain. It's very possible. But let's face it, you're going to have to get over that, because if you truly want to close more transactions, specifically 1 deal a week, you have to be writing more contracts, which means we have to talk to more people. And the more people we talk to, the more likely we are to get some that are having a bad day. And there's nothing you can do about it. And it's also not your fault, because you can't say the wrong thing to the right person or the right thing to the wrong person. Sometimes the people that we're trying to have a conversation with are just the wrong person. Julie, is this recorded? Absolutely. And in fact, it will be, yesterday's session was recorded and available. And I'll show you at the end, before we wrap up here, I will show you where you access all of that, and I'll get the links back in here again. Crystal, how long does the VIP? It's $47. It's $47. There are some like order bumps and other stuff. But for the VIP upgrade, which includes the bonuses, is $47. And it's available until midnight tonight. And you get lifetime access. And I'll put the link back in the chat again. Okay, so questions about the buyers. Actually, no. One other thing. One other thing before we open it up for questions. Some of you, not all of you, but some of you completed your action items from yesterday, which included identifying your existing buyers. Buyers that you have already in your phone, in your CRM, on social media. You can do the same thing with those. All we're looking for is reasons to have conversations. So if you're an overachiever, contact the 5 cash buyers that you can get for free, and also 3 to 5 or 10 of the folks you identified. Okay? And I'm going to take a step farther with the blueprint in some of these concepts, right? So the 3 steps in the process are: we find bait, and tomorrow I'm going to show you how to find off-market bait. Okay? Off-market bait, specifically off-market sellers that we're going to use the reverse offer strategy that will, best case scenario, give us the opportunity to facilitate a transaction off market, which I've had, of my last 3 dozen closed transactions, 6 or 8 of them, somewhere in that range, were completely off market. In other words, they don't exist in the MLS because they were never listed in there. I facilitated a transaction for compensation. And in fact, this for sale by owner. if this goes through, when this goes through, and it's going to be a quick settlement, it won't exist in the MLS because it wasn't an MLS listed property. Can we look for, can you check for more than 2 zip codes? You should be able to, Misty. You should be able to. Okay, hold on. Let me, I'm going to close the loop on the point I was making, which is the process and the blueprint. And then a couple of you were asking about problems checking the numbers. I'll show you in a minute here. Okay, so bait could be off market, could be on market, doesn't matter. Buyers. There are 3 big buckets of buyers. The way we think about it. Bucket number 1 is pocket buyers. And that's what yesterday's homework was designed to get you to do. The buyers that you have in your pocket. Okay? The buyers that you have in your pocket. This is why we extended the VIP. Crystal, you're having trouble checking out. Just email me, Crystal, and I'll loop in Sean, and we'll get it figured out. My apologies. That's exactly why we extended it. No matter how hard we try, sometimes the dang thing breaks. Number 1, pocket buyers. These are buyers that you have in your pocket. Russ is now a pocket buyer for me. Russ is the guy that I wrote the offer for the for sale by owner. He's a pocket buyer. He's a buyer that I carry around in my pocket. Bucket number 2 is institutional buyers, which is what I was giving you access to yesterday. And yes, they switched it where you have to put a credit card, but it's just for verification purposes. And then I gave you another institutional buyer option, which is included in the other one. Either way, bucket number 2 is institutional buyers. Bucket number 3 is portfolio buyers. And that's what these cash buyers are. And for folks who have lead deck, or for folks who decide to join our accelerator program, which I'm gonna lay out for you tomorrow, you get access to all types of portfolio buyers: cash buyers, active landlord buyers, multifamily buyers, vacant land buyers. Those are portfolio buyers. They're local buyers in your market that have a portfolio of properties. Pocket buyers, the people that you have in your pocket. Institutional buyers, Quick Buy, Zoomkasa, Zudilio, Homeward, Easy Street offers. There are more. And then portfolio buyers. They're the local buyers. And the goal is, when you reach out to these 5 portfolio buyers, cash buyers in your market, is that you have a conversation, you connect with them, and then they turn into a pocket buyer, a buyer that you have in your pocket. Now, some of you are having trouble checking the counts and so forth. Let me give you a couple of hacks here, okay? Please don't abuse this, okay? Put a 1 in the chat if you promise not to abuse what I'm about to show you, okay? Please don't abuse this. Number 1, if you're using Google Chrome, and if you're not, I don't know why you wouldn't be. If you go to New Incognito Window and you pull it back up, if you were getting some weird error on when you check the zip code, you should be able to check more. I'm going to give you one other hack. And again, please don't abuse this. But I'm someone, I genuinely want to help as many of you as possible. Okay? Yes, I'm going to make you an offer. And yes, we are a for-profit company. But I want to help every single one of you on here, regardless of whether you ever invest a cent in some of the things that we offer. Go and pop in your zip code. I want to do a different zip code. What do I want to do? I'll do 17102. Oh, even daggone it. The incognito didn't work for that. Well, here's how you might do the workaround. Check on your phone. So if you've been doing on your laptop, check it on your phone. Check it on your phone. And then the other hack I was going to do is the hack that I already showed you, which to get a couple of more, and please, again, what I don't want to see is a million notifications by one person grabbing 5 cash buyer leads, 5 cash buyer leads, whatever. But if you have a Gmail, you can add, you could say plus, whatever the zip code was, and you can get a couple more. Okay, don't abuse it, please. Thank you, appreciate it. We want to help, but we can't be giving away these willy-nilly, because there is an actual cost to us. Like this data actually costs us money. It's not free to us. Ramon. Okay, so Q&A question time, and this is gonna be all over the place now because the questions are all over the place. But Ramon asks, can we do this anywhere in the U.S. with other agents help for a referral fee? Heck yeah, why not? Absolutely. I think personally it makes the most sense to do it in your market, but there's nothing that says you can't. You could, whether it's using the free cash buyers, if you take us up on the offer that we have tomorrow, and you get all access to Lead Deck, you get the data for all 50 states, every zip code, city, and county in all 50 states. Crystal, we're going to get back with you. Misty, yeah, I don't know what was going on with the is this recorded? Yes. Okay, so here, the recording. So yesterday's recording, you can check out in the school community under this classroom section. And then later today, this is yesterday's, later today, you will see June 1 deal a week challenge, day 2, and the replay, the session summary, and the action items, which again, to be clear, the action items are as follows. You're going to get your cash buyer leads and you're going to reach out, you're going to do outreach to them about your bait. And the two bonuses are, number one, have a conversation with the listing agent before you reach out so you get the insider intel, number one. And number two, if you had successfully identified pocket buyers, you can reach out to them about the bait as well if it's relevant to them. Okay? All right. Let's see here. Somebody put one in the Q&A box, I think. Let me see what that was. I got an email saying I was on the wait list. How does that work? Vern, we don't have the Lead Deck licensing publicly available. So I'll let you know tomorrow how you can get access. Okay, that's going to be part of the special offer that we have for the accelerator program tomorrow. Give me Misty, did you try on your phone? Or do you have another device that you could try on? And either way, I'll tell you what, shoot me an email and we'll figure out a way to a workaround for it. How to log into school. You literally, there's nothing that, like, if you've never joined a school community, you'll have to create an account. But once you have your account, you just join for free. And let me get the about page. I think this is where you'll be kicked. If you're not already a member, which again, it's 100% free. If you're not already a member, I believe you get kicked to the about page and then you can join from there. And if you don't currently have a school profile, I think is what they call it, you create your free profile and then you join. And then you can go to the community, the classroom, etc. And I'll mention the community if you haven't already done so, which many of you did yesterday, but still many of you didn't. Introduce yourself in the pinned post. Introduce yourself to the one as part of participating in the 1 deal a week challenge. Okay. Was it my question about off-market properties for cash buyer? My limited belief. Well, here, so Jonna, you had said, where is it? Maverick had a property listed as a listing or under contract because lots of cash buyers went off market. What I was challenging there is your use of language, right? That may or may not, like, that statement may or may not be true. Lots of cash buyers want off market properties. Many of them may exclusively want off market properties, but I talk to cash buyers every time I do this that they don't care. They just want a deal. And if you have a reason why, here, let me give you a reason or a personal example of how you can present an on-market deal to a cash buyer that says, I only want off-market deals. Because if there's enough opportunity and value add, they don't care. Recently, I think I mentioned Sam yesterday. Sam is now a pocket buyer, but he was a portfolio buyer before I had a conversation with him and connected with him using Lead Deck and this blueprint and the reverse offer strategy. I called him and texted him about a bait property. He and I, we had great interaction, et cetera, et cetera. And I learned more about his buy box. Okay, so I now know what he's looking for. And there was a property in Enola, which is the town I live in, that I found that was on market. And it was a large enough lot that it could be subdivided, which alone is a value add opportunity. But because I did a little bit extra digging, I found out that you could subdivide and build a multifamily property on the parcel that you subdivide. The listing agent and even the property owner didn't know that. Or if they did, they weren't communicating it in any way, shape, or form. When you uncover the insider information and intel like that, they don't care if it's off market, on market, whatever, because you've done the legwork to identify where the value add opportunity is with the property. How do we get more? Joe, I gave you a little hack. And then beyond that, I mean, we reserve that for folks that have a license with Lead Deck. Now, there are other strategies where you can try and find them for free. We have inbound social marketing strategies where you can find them. And one free strategy that you could do is go and find and join Facebook groups in your market that are for like investors, off-market properties, etc. And then search for people who are buying, because they'll post on there what they're buying and what they're looking for. And that's a way that you can add portfolio buyers to your different buckets. I got the scripts, but it said it was on the wait list. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, you signed up on our website, like on our homepage, I think is what you're referring to, Vern. Let's see here. I'm just going back through the questions. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Did you call the county about the different zoning once subdivided? No, I called the township, because in my area, I think in most areas, it's really the township that dictates that. Ken says, my buyer was a cash buyer and was excited about a greatly reduced listed property. So I'm going to, in the next 24 hours, I'm going to be adding into the classroom 4 case studies. One of them is Ken, and we do a 10-minute deep dive on how, on the one deal a week workshop that we did a couple of months ago, how in 87 minutes he picked up a client. Unpacking it, Ken found a property that had a massive price reduction. It was reduced from 480 to 400, if I remember correctly, roughly. He called the listing agent and got the insider intel. It was a divorce situation, and they were finally ready to make a deal. Like, they were unrealistic, and now they were serious about it. That was the reason he had to then do the outreach, which was to a cash buyer. He gave him, he made him an offer about the property he was calling about, and they went and looked at the property. Now, to be fair, they wrote an offer. They didn't get it because it was such a price reduction that it got a lot of attention and activity, etc. But now he's got another client. He's got a pocket buyer ready, willing, and able to make an offer. It won't let me introduce myself until I reach. Yeah, Karen. I don't know. It's a school thing. You have to engage with comments and so forth, and then you can introduce yourself. My apologies. I don't think there's it's. Unfortunately, just like any community platform, you can get spammers in there. And so it's to protect against spammers coming in and then spamming the group like, hey, we offer free skip tracing or whatever, that kind of nonsense. I have a listing with a good tenant in place, and I'm going to use that to reach out to other landlords in the condo community. Boom! That is beautiful. 1,000,000%. That is so there's so much to unpack in this one little comment by Joe. Why is that a good idea? She says, I have a listing with a good tenant in place, and I'm going to use that as a reason to reach out to other landlords in the condo community. Why is that a good idea? Well, number one, it might help her get that listing sold. Number two, even if it doesn't, she's going to be having conversations with people that own multiple properties and at any one given time might be looking to buy more or have something that they would consider selling or consider an offer on. Number three, and don't sleep on this one. When you do that work, You want to document and demonstrate that work back to your client so that they know and see you are doing everything possible to help them get the property sold. You're not an agent that just sticks a sign in the ground, and you might not even be able to if it's a condo community, but you're not just sticking a sign in the ground and putting it in the MLS and praying. You are proactively leaving no stone unturned to get them an offer or multiple offers or help them sell it for the highest price possible. I love it. I love it. Laurie, I have buyers looking for their first home in a very competitive area and price range. Any ideas on how I might use any of these strategies to identify off-market opportunities that might be a good fit for them? Yes, I do. And that's tomorrow. Sellers and offers. So we'll Laurie, don't bring this back up tomorrow, because we'll walk through like the hierarchy of off-market sellers that I would work through, like as a mental exercise of what that might look like, right? So how do we go from bottom of funnel to more top of funnel, and the strategies that we can do for that. And this, again, here's the thing. The universe rewards action, okay? And I can't quantify that, okay? And I know that a little bit like, nebulous. But when you do the work for these buyers and you document and demonstrate all of the work you are doing on their behalf to find them an off-market property, number one, they are less likely to work with someone else, even if it takes a long time for them to find the right property. Number two, in so many instances, more opportunities will be uncovered as you do that work, because you're having conversations with more people. And even though you uncover someone who might be open to an offer, it doesn't work for these buyers for whatever reason. It doesn't have enough bedrooms or whatever. Because you're demonstrating to that person that you are proactive, that you aren't just like all the other real estate agents in the market. Just more opportunities tend to find yourself. Tend to come your way. They tend to find you, okay? Kelly got 15 buyers. Good on you, Kelly. Please don't do more than 15. But I'm glad you got it. You got a few extra. So good on you, Kelly. I'm just making sure that we got all the questions back here. Okay. So we're coming in for a landing. If you are already or have already upgraded to VIP, I'm gonna open that room a little early. I think in the Zoom setting it says 11:30 Eastern. I'm gonna open it up probably at 11:20. And if you're not and you still would like to upgrade, let me find where the dang link is for that. Here it is. There's still time to upgrade. You can do that and hop in. You'll also, not only will you get to, participate in the VIP hangout today, but you'll get yesterday's replay and the session summary and the bonuses, all of that good stuff. Okay, number two, once again, the replay of this and the details of the action items for today will be outlined in the school community this afternoon, as soon as the recording is rendered and so forth. And tomorrow is when we really connect all of the dots. And for those of you who want more listings, or you're like Laurie, you're in a situation similar to her where she can't find any inventory for her buyers, I'm going to dig into and unpack how we use reverse offer strategy and this blueprint to find those off-market sellers, which, let's face it, they can only buy one house in this scenario anyway. You've got a retail buyer. But by having those conversations, you will uncover other additional listing opportunities for sure. Also, let me mention this as well for VIP. If you're already in VIP, if you already signed up for VIP, and for some reason you can't access the VIP classroom, please email me, because it's a little funky. I have to enable your access, and I did my best to do that for everyone who signed up for VIP, but some of you either didn't have a profile yet in school, so you have to create a profile for me to grant access to that, or some of you are in there but under a different name or a different email or whatever. So I want to get that resolved as soon as possible. So just email me. If you're here, you've gotten emails from me. You can definitely do that. Can you drop the link to the live call recording since it's not in the bonuses? Tom. Oh, you mean the wiretap calls? The wiretap calls? Yes, I will get you those. Let's see here. Okay, and then so tomorrow is sellers and offers. We're going to unpack that and connect the dots on how we actually make good. So basically, we give property owners what they're looking for if they're thinking about selling, which is an offer, or we bring them a buyer. We bring them an offer, or we bring them a buyer. And then for most of them, we're going to end up pivoting to what is, for many or the majority of them, they're in their best interest, which is for you to help them list it on the open market so you can help them maximize their equity, get the most exposure, get the greatest number of showings and the greatest number of offers. I'll also be sharing the accelerator program and how many we're going to be working with for July and how you can participate in that. If you're in our Founders Club, we have a sweet deal for you on that. If you want to participate in that, and if you're not, you'll get all the Founders Club benefits and a whole lot more. So excited to share that. I'm going to open up the VIP Zoom room in about 10 minutes, and then it will officially start at the bottom of the hour at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Tomorrow's day 3 session once again is at noon Eastern. Okay, sorry for the up down, but we'll be back tomorrow at noon Eastern. And if in the meantime, Crystal, you email me. You should have gotten an email from me. Like if you got here, you got an email from me. It's josh@growwithjosh.com. josh@growwithjosh.com. And then I'll loop in Sean to see what's going on there. If you have questions, you can certainly reach out to me, but it's better to pose those questions in the community. It's better to pose those questions in the community because then you can get more than just one perspective or answer. We can get a community answer, okay? I'll also be adding some additional case studies, resources, etc. The Ken story, Stephanie's story, William Knight's story, Maverick's story. So you can look out for those in the community, and I'll see everybody back here tomorrow at noon Eastern.